Welcome to the Biohacking Beauty podcast, the leading podcast for skin renewal and anti-aging. My name is Amitai Eshel. I am the co-founder and CEO of Young Goose, that this podcast is brought to you by. Young Goose is the world's first biohacking skincare brand, which means we take the most advanced longevity molecules and we translate them into skincare formulations. My guest today is my co-founder, my co-founder. Yeah, you say that. My partner in life, the person really behind every single success we had in Young Goose, and the most requested guest on this podcast, Anastasia Khojaeva. Welcome, Anastasia.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, that didn't sound like it, but I believe you. I know that I was with you all day. You are happy to
and
be
it's
here.
only third take with
Exactly.
the technical difficulties.
Third take and second full recording because technical difficulties that are called Amitai. Anyway, so the reason, so anyone who was watching our social media recently saw your beautiful video about Mother's Day, and you are currently officially on maternity leave. You birthed Lev, our son, 3.5 months ago, and shout out to Tatiana that's taking care of him right now, keeping him quiet so he can record. But I really wanted you to come on this podcast to stop the torrent of texts and messages of people requesting you, but also because I really wanted us to discuss postpartum skincare. Obviously, when you were pregnant, we had a skincare during pregnancy podcast, and I think something that is definitely not discussed enough or kind of researched enough is postpartum skincare. How do we bounce back from, I'm not good in that, but how do women bounce back post-pregnancy?
I mean, in general, for many, not everyone is gonna breastfeed, but for the nursing moms, it's been years and years of people asking us, if our skincare is safe, and we have a mommy menu with, explaining exactly what products we suggest. And it is a concern. It's just, when you are postpartum, your skin changes so much. So that's universal for all moms out there. But then an added layer of complexity for the nursing moms, because they want to make sure that whatever they apply is safe for the baby, is not going to affect the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think we have some myths to debunk. We have some questions to answer, some listener questions, some Instagram questions. So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. Do you think it would be a good assessment to say that for, pregnancy, like skincare during pregnancy, it's mainly what molecules you should avoid to what kind of gets into your bloodstream, etc., which is also true postpartum, but mainly like what molecules you need to avoid. And postpartum, it feels like most of the molecules that we're going to be talking about today and procedures, it's like what stress not to apply on the skin. Would that be
yes and
correct?
No? Again, for definitely when you're pregnant, there is a laundry list of things you cannot do, including you have to be very careful about everything, like what you eat and what you put in your body, and always what you expose yourself to, including skincare. And yes, I think you mostly start, eliminating, thinking about what I cannot apply to make it most safe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas postpartum, you can do more, but then again, for nursing moms, it's still gonna be okay. What ingredients can I safely use? Because for the ones that don't nurse, you can do more actually to your note about bouncing back. You can bounce back faster. Not necessarily something I recommend, because like you said, it could be very stressful because you kind of sometimes isolate the fact, like you isolate your skin from the rest of the body. Your body just went through this life-changing event. It was just it was a long marathon of months and months of preparation to birth, and then postpartum. With hormonal shifts, you have just so much affecting your skin, and yes, your skin might temporarily look far from its best. But if you want to bounce back faster for whatever reason, because you have to go back to work and you have to look presentable, you want to feel better about yourself because, postpartum, it's a very challenging mentally period. So you already have predisposition of not feeling your best. And then when you look in the mirror and your skin is sort of failing you, you do want to apply maybe the strongest products out there to counteract that. But then again, it is not the right time. And we can, slowly, hopefully, talk about what we think is the right way to take care of your skin. And hopefully that's going to provide some clarity and inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe we should start with the biggest skin health challenges that women experience postpartum. Maybe we should go through some of them, look at, the challenge, what triggers it.
Yes. So first of all, I think we should start by saying that when a woman is pregnant, there is a sharp rise of progesterone and estrogen, which is two hormones that anyway every woman experiences during menstrual cycle. And actually, speaking of syncing your menstrual cycle with your skincare, we did record an episode about that. So if you're not pregnant and you don't care about postpartum skincare routine, maybe that would be something you want to listen to, and you can go back and find that episode. But so you have sharp rise in these hormones. Progesterone is the hormone that's going to be supporting your uterus, a womb, and making sure that it doesn't contract. And estrogen will be supporting the uterine lining. It will be supporting all the other key hormonal cascades and baby's organ development. And then, so you realize why you need so much of those two hormones. However, once the baby was born, unfortunately, the body doesn't like slowly decline those hormones. It's like a sharp decline. Like, that's it. We don't need, those other reasons we just mentioned, those hormones were needed. They're no longer needed. So the body is kind of like thinking to be efficient and just, shut those down. Let's say, of course, they're not shut down. They're still present, but there is very sharp decline. So based on that information, you can assume that, well, gosh, maybe if you were somebody that had pregnancy skin issues such as acne, it's very prevalent through pregnancy, or mask of pregnancy, another common problem, skin issue, you could think like, oh, I'm going to now just have those issues disappear as quickly as they came through pregnancy. But that's not going to really work that way. So answering your question, what are common postpartum skin issues? You still can develop acne for different reasons than during pregnancy. You can still develop melasma. And then during pregnancy, you have that worldwide known phenomena of glowing skin, which is mostly responsible, like estrogen is mostly responsible for that. So you have a lot more oil production and collagen and elastin. And then once estrogen declines, that's when postpartum, you're more likely to experience dry skin, itchy skin, sensitive skin, and also issues such as eczema, psoriasis. So those kind of like inflammatory skin conditions also can arise. So these are some of the common skin issues that people face postpartum. And then last but not least, you also have, stretch marks, you have hair shedding,
Okay, so let's start with acne. You mentioned hormonal acne. You mentioned that can someone have it? Can someone be acne free during pregnancy and then develop hormonal acne postpartum?
Yes, definitely. It's all very personalized, and it's your personal experience. I know women that breezed through pregnancy. It was for whatever reason they were not that anxious. It's hard to believe because pregnancy is such a stressful event. You know, there's so much unknown. But yeah, some moms maybe were really eager to get pregnant, or just had, I don't know, maybe friends or sisters around them. It kind of was easier for them, right? So, and let's say they had the perfect
Partner, such as myself.
they had perfect partner, maybe, but also perfect hormonal balance of like the way estrogen and progesterone peaked for them wasn't too much oil. Why do we get acne in pregnancy? It's because the estrogen triggers sebaceous glands to produce a lot of oils, and then on top of that, you're shedding a lot of dead skin, so they get kind of clogged together, and that causes it breeds the acne bacteria, acne causing bacteria. So let's say you didn't experience that in pregnancy, right? I personally didn't really develop acne during pregnancy. However, postpartum, the cortisol, the rise of stress hormone, if you just, rightfully so, really stressed, it's
again, not because of your partner.
Not because of your partner.
No.
Even if your partner is doing everything right.
Yes.
But maybe you're a new mom, first time mom, such as myself, or your baby is a sensitive baby, is a colicky baby, crying a lot, you're just really, really stressed. That alone,
lack of sleep.
So yeah, before lack of sleep, so that alone, the rise of cortisol again presses then on the same sebaceous gland that estrogen was present during pregnancy, but now you have postpartum cortisol doing that job, and then again you can develop acne for that exact kind of cascade of events. And that's what happened to me. So the first month, I didn't have acne since I was a teenager, and I had acne. I actually filmed some skincare tutorial because I was like, okay, I want to show how I'm going to be dealing with that. Let me use it as an opportunity. But that's something happened to me. And then, yes, sleep deprivation. Let's say, that's stressed, but you're just really, really tired. You're just the sleep deprivation alone can also have that cortisol circulating more. And lack of sleep will always show in your face. You will just look seriously more wrinkled than you are if you had a full night of sleep. Your skin will look dull. It will not be your best look. So that's there as well.
Got you. Listen, for the sake of kind of moving fast, and would you say that the majority of skin conditions are going to be that kind of interplay between lowered estrogen, progesterone, increased cortisol, lack of sleep, and stress? Okay, so got it. So
I mean, the cortisol is basically going to be the catalyst for a lot of these other hormones being turned on. Like, for example, the melanocyte-stimulating hormone, the MSH, it was turned on during pregnancy by the peak of estrogen and progesterone. Right now, again, cortisol is going to be pressing on that, so you are actually more photosensitive postpartum, maybe as much as when you were pregnant. So even if you didn't develop mask of pregnancy, like this melasma, this hyperpigmentation, like deposits of dark skin around your mouth and center of your forehead, let's say you didn't get that during pregnancy, you still should be very careful around sun exposure with your face. postpartum.
Okay, so we spoke about estrogen, progesterone. We spoke about MSH, cortisol. But as far as hormones, we also have an androgenic fluctuation and hormones, which are predominantly male hormones.
That's
and
right.
thyroid hormones.
Yes. So actually, postpartum, unfortunately, it is a time where a lot of women will face their first ever thyroid issues. So they can develop both either hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. So if you have hypothyroidism, so you have lower level of TSH, you will it will show in your face as the skin getting more dry and more itchy, more sensitive. And then if you have hyperthyroidism, so you're overproducing that TSH hormone, then you will actually have like a sweaty, clammy skin.
Got it. Okay, what about androgenic hormones? That's more like acne and maybe hair growth on the face. And
it would be better on the head once you're losing your hair
yeah,
postpartum.
it also actually making you shed more hair, but also
on your head.
But also could be linked with more oily skin, right?
Yes.
So, got it. So that's kind of covering like why or how are these hormones changing. But what about tips for dealing with those changes? Like what are, and there is a reason I'm asking it like that, but like what are some realistic and achievable tips, methods that you can address postpartum skin changes?
Absolutely. So if I had to like pick just one, I would go with hydration. So just really make sure that you drink as much water with minerals as you can, because it will just make everything better. You will feel better. The skin dehydration, it's like a universal thing postpartum, again because of very sharp estrogen decline. And I'm smiling because he was yawning, just in case you're watching this video. And if you're listening, now you know what happened behind the scenes. Okay, so we talked about hydration. Then, do I suggest skincare routine? Well, yes, I do. Is it realistic? Because you asked for a realistic tip.
Yeah.
I think you obviously not going to have time for a 9-step skincare routine. And if you do, great. I'm very happy for you. Wasn't my experience. Some days postpartum, you might not have time to brush your teeth. You might, maybe washing your face is a privilege. And that's okay. But whenever you are in that place and time that you want to do skincare routine, I would just say, if you can do cleansing, moisturizing, and protecting, such as wearing SPF when you're outdoors, I think that would be like the core routine that I suggest. Cleansing, again, very important, because if you are producing a lot of oils and then you have any kind of dirt, that will give you higher chance of developing acne. And then moisturizing, obviously talked about that your skin is very dry, so if you can do that, that will make a difference. And if you are going outdoors, it's very common to go for a walk with the little one. It is precious. And if sun is shining, you might develop pigmentation, so protect your skin from the sun.
Got it. What about differences between like AM and PM skincare routine?
I mean, if you can add a serum at the PM time, it would be amazing. So your treatment serums, you will still be, even though you might be up every couple of hours and you don't really have that nice 8-hour sleep that's supposed to be the beauty sleep, your skin's still recovering, rejuvenating, renewing itself overnight, like at night time, better than during the day. So it will be still the best use of your active ingredients to apply them at night. So if you can add a serum there for your targeted skincare concerns, that will be the time to do it.
Great, fantastic. What about like this? Something we alluded to a little bit earlier, which is like skin sensitivity. And so, first of all, how would you be able to kind of assess the compatibility of different ingredients that might benefit you day in, day out, but would you need to kind of stop and say, let's re-examine how my skin behaves now around different products?
For sure. Personally, I noticed that my eyes are just burning from so many things that I'm just more sensitive. So I will just say patch test your skincare routine. If you're planning to add something new, definitely patch test. And the way patch testing works, you just take a little bit of the product that you would apply normally on your face, and you put it behind your ear, and then you see how your skin reacts. I know that some people think that you can do it on the wrist. It's not the best place to do it. Your wrist might be fine and you might not react, but your facial skin will. And so yeah, patch testing would be best. And if you let's say before birth, before giving birth, I mean, let's say you were really going out, like all out for quite strong active ingredients, be it pregnancy safe, you might again need to kind of like take it slower and reintroduce them slowly postpartum. Your body really had a huge reset. So it's just something important to remember. It is not acting and behaving as itself for months and months to come.
Okay. What about...
I just want to make sure that it's still recording.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, still recording?
Yeah, I mean, still, yeah, like has a sign of...
And it says the amount of minutes there?
Yeah, 22, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so what about, if you did want to kind of add another step once in a while, what about like using a mask? How would you be using that?
At night.
At night, yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So you opt for like overnight masks, like the hyperbaric mask or something like that?
Yes, that has been my saving grace. I mean, the dehydration and I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I'm somebody that
toot away. Just toot.
But that people often, compliment my skin, and I had everything happening postpartum, like acne, really, really dry skin. I had dermatitis for many, many years, and ever since we launched NAD products, it really calmed down, and I haven't seen it for years, and it flared up. So yes, it's a very humbling experience. Being postpartum, it's definitely a journey.
Yeah, for me too. It's easy. No. Anyway, so you're handling it like a champion, really, Nast. How about specific ingredients that you would recommend? Maybe we should start with the positive. What would you recommend to look for in skincare?
Yes. Well, since my first tip was hydration, I think the first ingredient I want to start with is the hero of hydration. And for anyone that just right now thought about hyaluronic acid, no, you're wrong.
You failed.
Yes, I'm actually talking about Actoin. So Actoin, if you listen to this podcast, if you're a regular listener, you already know what Actoin is. And if you're not, do you want to briefly explain what Actoin is?
Yeah, so Actoin is everything hyaluronic acid wanted to be and is not. Yeah. So Actoin structures water around proteins in the skin and within cells, which allows cells to really hold on to more moisture. So it translates moisture to the language that the body understands, and actually protects the skin also from, losing water to the environment. It was found in like little creatures who are called water bears, space bears, they're or extremolites, which are little creatures that can survive in extreme climates. And the reason is because of that molecule, that it protects their cells, because it builds water around cells and around proteins. So it again helps you retain moisture. Helps if we think of a just a moisturizer, you apply it on your skin, you're going to have moisture. You wash it off, the moisture is gone with it. Ectoin has 11 days carryover, which is the most by far, and there's no even ingredient that comes close. So Ectoin Natural is the patented version of it. That's what we use and what I would recommend. We obviously have it in our, Care Moisturizer. We have it in, we don't have it in Care Moisturizer. We have it in Youth Daily, in Youth Reset Serum. We have it in our BioShield SPF 40. So great ingredients to have on a regular basis to increase your skin's capacity for hydration.
Yes, and I would just add, when we were preparing for baby to arrive, we did the biohacking kind of child-proofing of our house, including mitigating the effects of EMF. So we bought certain things that's supposed to mitigate EMF in the house. But, just fun fact, Ectoin also mitigates the effects of EMF and this disruption of your natural, protection. So it's a very potent antioxidant, I guess. You can think of it this way.
Anti-damage, anti-denaturing of proteins.
Yes. So
also, we have it in the amplifying essence. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Good idea.
Ectoin will be, one of them. Then again, sticking with hydration. If you just want something simple, if you're listening to this podcast and you are somebody that want to be just basic, like not to, I don't want to sound it like in a negative way. Just very, very natural. Glycerin, glycerin helps to promote more moisture retention by your, surface layer of the skin. So that would be one of my suggestions.
Great.
Yeah.
Maybe people can hear Lev
I know.
crying in the background. Hopefully with his mics they can't hear it. But shout out again for Tatiana. She's doing an amazing job. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, again, like maybe things that will brighten the skin or things that allow you to...
By the way, did you know that glycerin recently got a bad rep? We just want to debunk some myths over here. So
I've heard about it, yeah, but it's not true. Yeah. There's no truth to it.
And the allegations were like what? That it's comedogenic?
Yeah, that it's comedogenic, that it clogs pores. And again, glycerin can be contaminated. So that is the risk of glycerin, that it is going to be, while manufactured, can be contaminated. So you need to use pharmaceutical grade glycerin. Good luck figuring it out. A company can come out and say, well, like we do, okay, in the hyperbaric mask, we use pharmaceutical grade glycerin, but you kind of need to believe the company, to be honest with you. You need to have a company that communicates that, and the company that you believe.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole thing with EWG. Like a lot of people rely on this tool to screen products. And unfortunately, they kind of always go for the worst case scenario. And a lot of it is,
I think we go for the worst because EWG will tell you this ingredient, and they're going to give it like it's a 1 until 4. Like the higher the number, the worse the grade, basically. The worse it's allegedly for you. Now, in some cases, they are just silly, which is like in retinols. They don't like retinols, but there is no substantiation for their claims. Other areas, for example, like, glycerin for that matter, or some essential oils, if you just poured it willy-nilly on your skin, that's not going to be good for you. On the other hand, if you are doing it as a part of a balanced formula, it is a 1, So we just see, 1 until 4, we assume it's a 4, but it could be a 1. And normally in good formulation, it actually is a 1. It actually is a 1.
Yeah, that's an important point for anyone that's relying on individual to consider.
Yeah. Okay, so what I wanted to ask you, anything else as far as like hydration? So we talked about ecto, we talked about glycerin. What about like, how do you kind of maintain skin barrier?
Yes. So I would go for biomimetic lipids. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's phospholipids and glycolipids that are identical to the ones that make up your skin barrier. So if you use a skincare with biomimetic lipids, that indeed will fortify your skin barrier and minimize transepidermal water loss, which is a lot of a reason for skin dehydration. And actually, again, because of decline of estrogen, your skin barrier actually gets compromised, which is another reason you are more acne prone. So it's a very good idea to use that with just Young Goose products, for example. We use it in BioBarrier.
Yep, true. I would say, and again, that would be a difficult tip as a general tip, but studies are showing that spermidine does improve skin barrier function dramatically. So I would say, if you use our products, you reset you daily that have high levels of like therapeutic levels of, spermidine precursors, full spectrum spermidine, definitely use that again, but that's very specific to Young Goose products. Let's talk a little bit about, again, like things that are supporting maybe the pigment.
Yeah.
Because, we're going to talk maybe about what we cannot use, but how can we, support brightening the skin or even pigment?
That will be for postpartum and for pregnancy, that will be vitamin C. So you won't be able to use any really stronger ingredients like, we'll talk about those ingredients and what you cannot use. But to answer your question, I would go for vitamin C. Now, when you choose vitamin C, it's very important to use the correct version. So use THD or MAP. Those are the two.
THD, ascorbate.
Yes.
Or MAP. Do not use, under any circumstances, L-ascorbic acid or ascorbic acid. It's the same thing. It is cytotoxic. It's genotoxic. It caused ferroptosis, which means cellular death through the excitement of iron atoms, so it basically ages you long term. Okay. So what about peptides? It's kind of everyone, is obsessed with peptides right now. Such a large statement because many peptides do different things, but what about peptides?
Well, I think with peptides, you just really need to see the whole formulation. If you were to just, rely on peptides only as an ingredient, you maybe can use it postpartum, depending which one, but it might not do anything for you because they really need a lot of support from those other ingredients. So that will be my answer.
Okay. What about, so peptides are kind of, that's more for people who are going to want that, repair some of the laxity or wrinkles or things like that. That's normally what it's associated with. What other ingredients do you recommend, again, to tackle, anything like, reduced elasticity in the skin, increased wrinkles, plumpness?
Yes. So for all of the above that you mentioned, if you use a quality vitamin C formulation, that actually can help with all of the above. It will stimulate collagen production. It will help with laxity. Like our ProCare, for example, is known to help to reverse that triangle of beauty. So, when you're young, it's like upside down, it's this way.
Well, most
I
people,
don't know, it's a triangle with my fingers.
anyone who's driving, do not Google the triangle of beauty. But I think
Yes.
you mean that you have, wide cheekbones and like it
Yes.
tapers down towards the chin, basically. Like you don't have
Yes.
jowls, basically.
Yes. And then as we age, it reverses. So anyway, vitamin C can help with all of the above. And last, but by far not least, saved some of the best for us, sunscreen. Really make sure that you protect your skin. And when you do that, make sure that you do it with 100% mineral sunscreen. We stand by zinc oxide. Actually, if you had babies or going to have a baby, you'll see that all the diaper rash creams, prevention creams, they're all based on zinc oxide. So it's super gentle ingredient. And so that will be something I recommend. And another thing that we didn't discuss, but we should at least mention, will be NAD plus precursors.
Mhm.
So if you boost in NAD plus within your skin cells, it will help holistically across the board.
Mhm.
It will stimulate the repair, rejuvenation. And if you're already giving your skin any kind of tasks with serums, if you're asking your skin to be more hydrated, etc., it will support that function.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the most important ingredient for underslept human beings. Like,
Yes.
if you don't get enough sleep, unfortunately, first of all, get enough sleep. But in case you have a 3.5-month-old that, just decides that 1:42 a.m. is the best time to wake up. So,
and just like a side note for anyone that just tells new parents like sleep when baby sleeps, just don't say that.
Don't say that. Or come and help with the baby, and then we will be able to sleep. Anyway, so NAD is precursors, because NAD as a molecule as a whole doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
You want nano-sized, microencapsulated NAD precursors if you really want them to work in your skin. What about what would be like the most basic ingredient? We talked about like really, blah, blah, yeah, the crazy ingredient. Like, what's like, you did mention glycerin, I'll give you that. But
yeah, I was going to say that I think just a competitor of glycerin would be aloe vera here, and being basic, but still very good ingredient. Aloe vera, it's going to promote healing. It's going to be soothing for your skin. And yeah, like we mentioned, your skin might be very sensitive at the moment. So that could be, if you're looking for something very, very natural, very basic, that would be it.
Sounds great. Fantastic. Also a star of diaper rash creams, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah. Anyway, so how about ingredients that people should not use?
Yes. And actually, in preparation for this podcast, I wanted to see what Google will suggest as safe ingredients postpartum, and you will be surprised.
Anastasia is the only person that pop quizzes Google.
Yes, and you will be surprised how many not safe ingredients are deemed safe. Some of them are banned in like Europe altogether, and here in the US they're considered safe for breastfeeding. So I'm going to pull up my list because I really want to make sure I don't forget any of them. But I will be ready in a second with that. So, okay, here we are. So I guess if we're talking about eliminating not safe ingredients, something it's kind of clear, universal to everyone, that we will not be using retinoids while pregnancy or nursing.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Do you want to tell people why?
Well, retinoids in general can potentially harm fetus, or like at like high levels of vitamin A could which retinol is a precursor for retinoic acid, which is the active version of vitamin A that your body uses, or retinoid esters are the kind of dormant or stored version. And they are this could cue, this could kind of create an imbalances in the fetus or baby. Actually, really bad if we do end up elevating vitamin A levels above norm for babies. What I would say is that the risk is double because we might also rub it on the baby. So like if we have it on the skin and we, cuddle with our, and we have OCD, obsessive cuddle disorder, which is what I have with Lev, we are going to, rub it on the baby. So we don't want to use retinoids. I do use bioretinol. I make sure that I do not come in contact. First of all, if you ask Lev, he assumes I can breastfeed and just don't and choose not to. So he's very frustrated with that sometimes. But just don't come in contact with the baby or the fetus, by the way, if you have it on your face and let it absorb, etc.
Got it.
So, but that's something you should communicate to your partner as well, I think. If they are using retinols.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, if your partner is using testosterone boosting cream, don't touch the baby with it. Just
you don't want the Arnold Schwarzenegger baby.
Yes. So just a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
So one of the surprising findings that I found online is that hydroquinone is considered safe for breastfeeding. However, what is important to realize is that a lot of it absorbs. First of all, it's a highly bioavailable ingredient for skin, like 35 to 45% of it absorbs by the skin. And so hydroquinone is basically bleaching. It's for, eliminating melasma and hyperpigmentation. And again, I can understand how somebody will be tempted by it. A lot of dermatologists recommend it. And if you develop mask of pregnancy and you went to dermatologist and they're like, hey, hydroquinone is totally safe while breastfeeding or, postpartum, you go for it. Please don't, because it's actually, it is actually genotoxic and organ system toxic. And it's banned. It's banned in UK, Europe. It's maybe US.
Just say no.
Yeah, maybe US is the only country where they can still sell it. So
yeah. So how about keeping it? Okay, please go ahead. I'll ask my question then.
Sure. Another one that is considered safe, according to Google, is benzoyl peroxide, which this ingredient is actually for combating acne. And then again, we talked about the desire to bounce back and the skin issues that you might experience postpartum. So you might be dealing with acne. You might go again to dermatologists, and that might be suggested. However, the risks are just way too great. The babies that they can develop neurocongenital disorders, so just don't. Salicylic acid is kind of like a tricky one because you definitely want to avoid the high dose salicylic acid, but maybe spot treatment is okay. Personally, I would err on the side of caution and just not use it for the time of nursing. So these will be like the main ones.
Got it. Okay. How about I think it's kind of redundant, but phthalates obviously are out of the question.
Yeah.
Used a lot in fragrances though. I think that might be like a reason to mention it. So if you use like a perfume or something like that, and non-zinc oxide based sunscreens, like you mentioned, zinc oxide is a good ingredient, but I think it's really important to let people know that we see organic means, by the way, chemical sunscreens, so non-minerals, organic sunscreens, evidence of them 10 years after use in people's brains. So obviously, it's going to get to your milk, going to get into the baby's milk, etc. Also, like I would say like my reference before to essential oils is like very important to understand. When we say essential oils, we mean like literally, there are companies that are promoting essential oils as a single ingredient. We can hear Lev in the background. As a single ingredient, as whether it is like frankincense or bergamot or whatever. Say, oh, just put it on the pigmented area, anything like that. These get to the bloodstream, very unhealthy. As a single ingredient can damage vasculature, not good. So no essential oils is a single ingredient, is an ingredient that you apply directly without having a balanced formula around it. Well, listen, Lev is crying. Tatiana needs to go. Anastasia, thank you very much for giving us your time.
Yeah, that's postpartum.
Exactly.
As it gets. That's a very authentic postpartum episode.
No, they can't hear it. They don't know.
No? Okay. Well, I'm gonna go, and it was fun to be with you guys.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you for my little break.
And we're gonna try and do it again. Thank you, Anastasia. We love you, and
thank you.
Let's go be with our son.